Hello and welcome to The Breathing Room. This is the first of a two-part series with Dr. Girish Lad. Today we're going to talk about the oncology part.
I always say that COVID has saved at least 100 years of marketing efforts of the mental health experts. One of the findings is that almost 90% of the students who have done psychology are women or girls. Why only girls are doing psychology and why not boys are doing? With cancer, there are hundreds of misconceptions. With psychology, there are thousands of misconceptions. I can give you example of Yuvraj Singh, the famous cricketer.
Yes.
And if you read his book, he was in denial.
Super
fit,
yes.
He's an athlete and he has all the support staff with him. So obviously anybody in that situation will believe, I can't have cancer. Even when you say, even jokingly about the death, everybody will say, don't talk about that. So apshakun and all that. So we don't talk about death. What we are prepared is only the mediclaim and the insurance.
Hello and welcome to The Breathing Room. I'm Rita Date, your host. I'm a yoga and meditation coach, nutritionist, and author. On this show, we talk about M&M, mind, nutrition, movement. 3 pillars you need for a healthy life. You'll find practical information backed by science, everything you can use. This is the first of a 2-part series with Dr. Girish Lad. Girish Lad is the founder of the Texas School of Mental Health. It's an institution that provides education in psychological counseling, and it has various specializations, very interesting: oncology, obesity, de-addiction from screens, and pregnancy. Today we're going to talk about the oncology part. I reached out to Dr. Lad because I read about his work and I thought it was fascinating, since I've also written a book about nutrition and cancer, Fighting Cancer with a Thali. That also concentrates on the mind, M&M, mind, nutrition, movement, and mind is number 1. So we connected and I'm very happy he's here today. So, Girish, I'll call you Girish.
Yeah, please.
Before we dive in, tell us your trajectory. I know you were in the IT space before. How did mental health come in?
Okay. So, I have around 25 plus years of experience of doing business. And I feel very happy when I call myself a social entrepreneur. So, while I was doing an IT business, my objective was to use information technology to address social issues. So in that I have done multiple projects. I have addressed various social issues. One of the prominent issue that I addressed is female feticide.
Oh.
So we all know that in India we have a demand for a boy over a girl, and ultrasound machines are misused to determine the sex of the fetus. And if the fetus found to be a girl's fetus, then it is aborted. So to stop that, we invented a technology solution which is called as a Save the Baby Girl. And it was way back in 2009. We implemented first time in Kolhapur district in Maharashtra. And in last 16 years now, this invention has been implemented in over 125 districts.
Oh wow, it's still there.
Still going on,
okay.
Yeah. Across India, with around 5,000 hospitals and ultrasound machines are connected to that. And in last 15-16 years, we could have saved at least 1 million girls from getting aborted.
Wow, that is something.
So that is also another way that we can use technology. Because nowadays we are blaming technology for all our lifestyle problems. So that is something what I felt very happy for what I have done. And around 2014. I came across a WHO report where it was mentioned that by 2020, depression is going to be the second leading illness in the world. And by 2030, it will be the leading illness in the world.
Oh.
So by that time, my role as an individual in creating an invention for the feticide was done. And I have seen that the project is working and it was successful. So I was looking for some another social issue where I should I should be working. And that's where this report came. And then I thought that, okay, this is the area that I should be working. So it's almost since 2014, then I started working.
That was mostly depression or all mental health, like in general?
Yeah, so that was the report. So that gave me an idea about how deeply there is a a need to work in the field of mental health. So I started working. So first few years I did a lot of research. So I did research on what is mental health, starting from there. So till then I was not knowing the difference between psychologist and psychiatrist.
Okay,
Yeah,
it started from scratch.
So it happens with most of the
Yes,
people.
of
We
course,
don't know what is
yes.
psychologist, what is psychiatrist. So started from the basic scratch, and then I did then masters in psychology, because if I want to work in that area I need to have a academic knowledge. So I did masters, and while doing that I studied various syllabuses from the universities. I studied various small programs like REBT, CBT. I did de-addiction program from Stanford University. So after all this learning, I had my own findings. The first is that because that time COVID was not there, so there are two aspects of mental health. What I've seen, mental health after COVID and mental health before COVID.
Really?
Yeah. So pre-COVID, it was like there were hundreds of stigmas associated with mental health. People were not talking about it.
Especially
People
here
used
in
to
India.
laugh. So it was
Yeah.
a fun topic. So nobody used to give a value. So the agenda prior to COVID was to create awareness. And after COVID, there is a drastic change at global level. So people have started accepting the existence of mental health in their life. So that is the major change that I have seen. So I always say that COVID has saved at least 100 years of marketing efforts
Yes.
of the mental health experts, because now there is an acceptance. So that is number one finding. Second finding is that because there was no commerce involved, so very few people were interested in becoming a psychologist.
It's not a lucrative.
Yeah, like we see the line for to become a doctor or to become an engineer. Psychologist was probably at the last stage.
That has changed.
Yeah, and one of the finding is that almost 90% of the students who have done psychology are women or girls. And then I used to worry, like it was a curiosity, like why only girls are doing psychology and why not boys are doing. The first thing is that as I said, there is no career, there is no commerce involved into that. Secondly, last 30-40 years when we have this urbanization, the criteria for marriage has changed, because now the boys are coming to the city areas and doing jobs. So they wanted a graduate girl. So graduation criteria has increased in the marriage contracts.
Also, it's like you said, it's a field that is doesn't have the work hours. You can set your own work hours.
Yes.
So that's another.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the parents who wanted their girls to be a graduate, now what is the easiest way where you don't need to give any donation, nobody bothers whether you attend classes or not? So psychology is the best, because
really?
easily you
Okay.
get an admission. So that is also one of the major reasons in India. I'm talking in the Indian context. And then by the graduation phase, 50-60 girls out of 100 will get married, and you will see many women who have done graduation in psychology and after that did nothing. So only 20-30% will go for masters, and out of that only 20-30% have pursued it as their profession. So there is a huge gap between the demand and supply. So that is another finding. Third is because now there is no demand, so nobody has paid attention that there has to be regular enhancement in the syllabus, the techniques of teaching and all. So curriculum has not upgraded as it should be. And especially last 3-4 decades, everybody's lifestyle has completely changed. Our lifestyle has changed, the pace has increased extensively. So our problems have also changed, but accordingly the syllabus has not changed. So when I did my masters, I did not find a single word called mobile in my syllabus. And we all know that every household we have at least one social media addict,
right,
or a screen addict.
That's not in any books or anything yet, right? It's not.
Yeah. So in psychology there are 4 options to become a specialization. One is counseling psychology, clinical psychology, industrial psychology, and social psychology. So, for example, I did counseling psychology. So, after I get my master's degree, I have become a counseling psychologist. But counseling for whom? Whether I'm going to do a child counseling or
What's the difference between counseling and clinical?
counseling psychology is focused on counseling aspects of that. Clinical psychology is more technical.
Okay.
Like you need to have a graduation in psychology, then only you can do a clinical psychology. While counseling psychology, even if you are not a psychology graduate, you can do counseling psychology. So clinical psychology is more clinical,
Okay.
where you have psychometric assessments. There are, like we have pathology, so there is a psychopathology.
Okay.
So likewise,
Understood.
so it's more technical in terms. So when I become a counseling psychologist, my first question is, okay, so now from where to start and whom should I counsel? Because as a counseling psychologist, I'm allowed to do anything. So I can do geriatric counseling, I can do marriage counseling, I can do child counseling, I can do parenting counseling, but for which I do not have any professional training. And that's where I found the gap, that there is a need for professional programs, and it has to be training based, evidence based programs. So accordingly, I identified 4 key areas. I call it 4 verticals. The first is psycho-oncology. Psycho-oncology is mental health aspect of cancer. Second is obesity. Third is pregnancy, and fourth is screen obsession. So all these 4 are global problems. Every second house you will see at least one case. And when I googled, when I did all different types of research, I did not found any professional program into these specialty areas. So that's how this Texas School of Mental Health started.
Okay. But you started onco-psychology first.
Yes. So when we identified these 4 verticals, we started with the psycho-oncology, because psycho-oncology is the most toughest and robust program amongst all 4.
You started with the toughest first.
We started with the toughest first.
Now, how does it differ from general psychology? Explain just
Okay, so
to the audience.
when you become a psychologist, even though whatever you have learned from your syllabus, usually you see people practice in 1 or 2 specialty areas. So psycho-oncology is something, because cancer, for example, now cancer can happen to anybody. So it can happen to a child, it can happen to adults and mid-age, old age. Secondly, cancer has its own lifestyle journey. So in one particular cancer life cycle, the cancer patient goes through different types of psychological problems. It starts even before detection of the cancer. Suppose somebody asks you to do a cancer screening. Your anxiety starts there itself, whether you will have a cancer or you will not have a cancer.
Oh, I didn't think of that, even before you get tested.
Diagnosis. So
Okay.
we broken down that lifestyle of a cancer into 6 phases. Like we have 4 stages of cancer, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, where we understand stage 2 means what, stage 3 means what. So in the field of psycho-oncology, we broken it down into 6 phases.
Okay.
So phase 0 is the what we call scanxiety. So anxiety to do the cancer scanning. That is scanxiety with which we started. Now in that particular area, you have anxiety as a prominent issue. Then denial is a prominent issue. Many people feel that they are fit and they cannot have a cancer, or it's a business. So they'll go to somebody else, then they'll go to
Big pharma is
Ayurveda,
just trying to get us.
they'll change the pathy. So there is a doctor hopping and there is a pathy hopping. And that's where the diagnosis become delayed. And it might cause from cancer to grow from stage 1 to stage 3. But
Yes,
people
I've
don't
seen that.
realize. It's because of fear of unknown. Then the next stage is when the cancer is detected. So when you see the report, how the information is told, how the bad news is communicated to the patient, that is very crucial, because the way it has been communicated, that creates a base of how you are looking at cancer. Suppose somebody tells it very scientifically by giving proper information and with empathy, then probably patients are more equipped and ready for the acceptance that they have a cancer. But if it is told bluntly, these are only in medical jargons, medical terms. So you have multiple myeloma, stage 2, grade 3, and this you'll have to go to surgery.
But you have to teach doctors this, right?
Yeah. So
where does that come in?
The oncologist or the medical field, in their syllabus, they don't have counseling.
No.
So they don't have training on the communication. So there is a big role of communication in the entire cancer journey. So after that, then the second phase starts from breaking the bad news till treatment decision making. Now, treatment decision making is also very important, because if suppose somebody has asked a patient that you have to go for a surgery, 99% people will go for second opinion, then they'll go for third opinion, then they'll go for fourth opinion, until and unless they see a doctor who tells them what they want to listen. So selection of a oncologist or a hospital, and if you delay that, again there is a possibility of growth of cancer in your body. So taking timely and correct decision is very much important, and in all that, psycho-oncologist does help in addressing their fears, in addressing their uncertainties.
But do they reach out to will they reach out?
That's what now we have started.
You have started,
Yeah,
and
we
the
have started.
hospitals have to, or the cancer centers
hospitals,
have to,
they have to. Yes,
push
now
this.
they do accept that there is a need. This is something, psycho-oncologist is complementary to oncologist. It's not competing to oncologist.
Yes, of course.
So there is an easy way that this will work. But very few people know the word psycho-oncology.
Yes.
So it's very pre-infant, prenatal stage, this industry is. And as I said, there is no professional training programs. There are workshops, there are trainings, but into one or two aspects. Like you will see a lot of palliative care training programs in psycho-oncology. But that is addressing only to the palliative care patients. Like palliative care is where the patient is on the bed and you have to do only pain management or associated with the end of life. But what about the women who have breast cancer and have body image issues? So as a psycho-oncologist, you have to address almost every aspect of psychology. That you have to deal with the denial, you have to deal with the guilt. Suppose somebody has a cancer because of addiction, then obviously the first thing that will hit that person is a guilt, and also to the family members. Then there is a social stigma, then there are cultural influences, then there are myths associated with that, then the cost involved in cancer treatment. So the triggers that increases the psychological issues are multiple. Then there are marriage relationship issues, there are issues associated with intimacy and sexuality, there are issues associated with the end of life, life after death, even the grief, the bereavement, the mourning. So normal psychologist does not address all types of issues in their practice. So if I am a child psychologist and working for 20 years, I know the same problems are coming. In that case, probably I will not be dealing with the grief.
And psycho-oncology is it's an established field abroad, right?
Yes.
In the US especially, you were telling me about.
Yeah, but in fact in US also there is not a single program like what we have right now, the postgraduate diploma in psycho-oncology.
Okay.
From the academics part, everywhere around the world, nobody had such a comprehensive programs.
Oh, that's
yes.
That's good. Need of the day, because cancer is on the rise.
Right.
And I used to volunteer at a cancer center giving nutrition advice. And I found that most people knew what to eat. They just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Am I doing this right? This is happening.
Correct.
I can't do this.
Correct.
They have these problems.
Reassurance.
So reassurance.
Yeah.
So it's the need of the day.
Correct.
And your second batch is starting, you said?
Second batch is already started. So we launched this program last year in June when we have the first batch. The second batch also started, and the third batch is starting tomorrow, that is 5th of April.
So can they set up their own practice? How will you promote psycho-oncology in India? Like, what can we do to get the people help, the people who need help? How do we make them understand where to go, how to go about it? I mean, should, like, for example, in Pune, Ruby Hall and Dinanath and all that, should they have the onco-psychology units there?
Yes, actually.
Ideally, yes.
Actually, this is a very important question that you have asked. I had a podcast with Dr. Kopikar, who is one of the well-known oncologists in India, I'll say, practicing for 35 plus years. And when we had a joint podcast, after that, his first reaction is like, now I have understood the difference between psychologist and psycho-oncologist.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, if you see most of the hospitals, they'll say, we already have a psychologist, we already have a psychiatrist. Why do we need a psycho-oncologist? So that is the first thing, that a regular psychologist and a psycho-oncologist, there is a difference. Because psycho-oncologist is trained to be a psycho-oncologist. A normal psychologist will not be knowing about the human anatomy, because which is not taught in their syllabus. They might not be knowing the detail about the oncology.
Yeah, they don't know
Because
cancer stages.
Exactly.
They don't know what can happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I want to become a psycho-oncologist, I should know the oncology part. I should know the human anatomy, and I should know all the different issues that I am supposed to address. And psycho-oncologist is not dealing only with the cancer patient. They are also dealing with the caregivers, they are also dealing with the family members, they are also dealing with the social volunteers and the healthcare professionals, because they all go through
That's a
burnout.
very good point.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. See, psycho-oncologist has to deal, because, or I'll put it in another way, cancer is a biological disease for the patient, but psychologically, this is a disease for the cancer patient, family members, caregivers, volunteers who are working in this field, and to the healthcare professionals. Volunteers, how it is important, because volunteers are helping cancer patients, and many a times they did not get what they expected. Like they develop a bond with the patient, and then there is a death, or they want to help the patient, but somehow they could not, because if it is a financial situation, they cannot help. So you are unable to help somebody when there is a definite need, and that need is associated with life and death.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that compassion fatigue, what we call, or the burden of disease, I can use all jargons, but to make it simple,
the ecosystem,
exactly,
everybody is stressed.
So there is a sense of failure, there is a sense of hopelessness, there is a sense of helplessness associated with almost everybody. As a family member, suppose imagine a male of 35 years old is diagnosed with a cancer, and he is the breadwinner. So he has a wife and 2 kids, and the EMIs are going on for the house, EMI is going on for the car, the school fees, and if his wife is housewife, then imagine what all she has to face. And especially in the urban areas where we don't have that ecosystem, what we used to have in a small villages, the support system. So managing, many a times the women don't know how to go to the bank and how to do the dealing.
Okay, yes, they have never done these things before.
So suddenly, so it's not only about that my husband has a cancer and whether he will live or not, but beyond that, what will happen to my kids? What will happen to me? What will happen to my family? So these are psychological stresses. And so psychologically, it affects everybody.
So how do they help? Like what? So say they will learn techniques to pass on, or how does it work?
Okay, so the primary role of psycho-oncologists, to tell in a simple language, is to first understand what the problem is. Secondly, then acceptance is the major key. People live in denial. So once you have acceptance, then you will work on solutions. If you are not accepting, if you are in denial, that means you are prolonging the problems. You are making their size bigger, and you are blaming somebody else for that. So the moment you accept, you will not blame God also, because okay, now I have a cancer, now what? The moment you accept, you will start working on solutions. So the first job of psycho-oncologists is to make them realize the facts and make them accept whatever the outcome is. Then only you can work out on a solutions. So that is number one. Then once you have acceptance, then we help them in taking right decisions.
Okay.
Because whenever you are stressed or you are having a severe anxiety, the first thing it affects your mind is your cognitive impairment. You can't take right decisions.
Yeah, it's very hard.
So psycho-oncologists help them how to calm your mind. So that time they provide them
Techniques.
like breathing techniques, yoga, mindful techniques, sleep. Insomnia is a major problem during that period. So whenever we found that this person need medication, we refer them to the psychiatrist, because psychologists can't give medicines.
Right. When they need it, they have to go, yeah.
Then psycho-oncologists also, if they are dealing with the oncologist can tell them that, okay, I want this information to be communicated to the patient. Suppose there is a case where 5 cycles of chemotherapy were advised at the treatment decision making. But at the 4th cycle, there is no response from the body. And you have to have another 2 cycles. So bad news is not only that you have a cancer. Bad news is still that you may have cancer even after remission.
Right.
So
yeah.
But usually when we say bad news, it's only like, oh, you have a cancer. But bad news is also that your body is not responding. You have to go for another treatment. You have to go for, so all these are bad news. And psycho-oncologists are trained on how to communicate this bad news, because they can assess. Suppose I give you another hypothetical case, that there is an 8-year boy and that boy is diagnosed with a cancer. Now how to communicate to the parents that your boy has a cancer? It's a very big task. So oncologists can communicate, and how they are going to digest. So how psycho-oncologists can play a role? Psycho-oncologists can do a basic assessment among husband and wife, who is stronger. So shall we break that bad news to them together, or shall you break the bad news to the person who is stronger first?
Oh,
and then
is there a choice? You have to tell usually.
No, I'm just telling you.
Yeah, for example.
Now, because this is something new.
Yes.
So these all are different theories. So a lot of research is required in every aspect of that. So this is something area which is very untouched. Nobody has experimented into this.
Okay.
So we have to do a lot of research, we have to do a lot of experiments, and we have to try to find out some evidence-based concrete solutions to this. And like as I said, this case, I have thousands of cases. So everywhere you have to work. So it's pretty complicated. But if you know, if you have experience and if you have academic learning of this, so you can understand. Suppose the question that you have asked, the difference between psychologist and psycho-oncologist. Suppose somebody is coming to you and telling that I have a cancer and I have a bladder cancer and I have gone through that and I have this treatment. The psychologist should be in a position to understand what is bladder cancer, what is stage 3.
They have to know what they're treating.
If they don't know, how can they deal with that? Because stress in normal life, stress at workplace, stress at house, stress at neighborhood, stress in the traffic condition, and stress because you have a cancer. So you can't have the same therapy applied at all the positions. So physical health and mental health, I have this habit of comparing both.
Physical
every
health
time,
and mental health. Okay.
So in physical health, suppose we two are having a headache. So one cross-in will solve our problem. Morning when we'll get up, we'll have a fresh mind. But if your pain is because of not a biological pain, then that cross-in. So in mental health, there cannot be one cross-in for everybody. Because your background is different, your stresses are different, your triggers are different, my triggers are different. So this is the challenge for the psychologist and the psycho-oncologist, to understand the problems and understand the trigger, why it is coming, from where it is coming. Then they can think of that.
Wow.
So the root cause is very important.
Yeah.
And in the field of psycho-oncology, this is what we train them, because they are already psychologists. So they know all what is CBT, what is REBT,
Right,
what is
right.
ABCD of
So you go
REBT.
specifically into oncology,
Yes,
which
this is the application. How you are going to apply this. So that is what we call this a finishing school.
finishing school. It's a good way to.
Yeah.
And so, any misconceptions people have about cancer and psychology together, or
So many.
so many?
With cancer, there are hundreds of misconceptions. With psychology, there are thousands of misconceptions. So, if I have to say, with related to the cancer, because it's the first thing, it starts with a denial. I can give you example of Yuvraj Singh.
Yuvraj Singh,
The
yes.
famous cricketer.
Yes.
And if you read his book, he was in denial. And he has all the grounds for the denial because he was playing for India. He is
An
super
athlete,
fit.
yes.
He's an athlete and he has all the support staff with him. So obviously anybody in that situation will believe that I can't have cancer. So he took little time and then when he diagnosed, it was a cancer. So I cannot have a cancer. This is one standard myth. That secondly, that cancer means death. I have a cancer, that means I am going to die. This is the biggest myth now. So we equate cancer with death.
Even now,
it's like
so many developments.
Yeah,
And
we live in a little community which is educated, but 90% people are not from our community. So they still have the myth. Like a couple of weeks back, I met a family member in Newcastle, and he was asking me that his father had a cancer 4.5 years ago, multiple myeloma cancer, and the doctor said that 3 to 6 months he will survive. And he said it's been 4.5 years, he's still alive. And he's regularly doing chemotherapy, all the treatments, and he's very happy because they have not told him that he has a cancer.
Really?
Yeah. So last 4.5 years.
But he's getting treatment.
He's getting
he doesn't
treatment.
know what he's getting.
He was told some different story.
Okay.
And he believed, and he's undergoing that treatment. So his question was like, so mental health has supernatural powers. So if you decide, you can do anything. I said it's not, mental health is not supernatural, but yes, mental health, if you are mentally strong, then you can handle the challenges very easily. The moment he will came to know that he has a cancer, probably the situation would have been different. He would not have survived for 4.5 months. Because now that he don't know that he has a cancer, so he don't have the thought that he will die.
He's going to die. That's why children do better. You know, they have a higher rate of survival.
Yes.
Because they don't think of death.
Correct.
Right?
But there is another, that's true. Death is again a very interesting topic in psycho-oncology. Because as I said, cancer is associated with the death.
Yeah.
And death is something like we all people around the world are so confident that we are going to die of aging. We are not going to have heart attack. We are not going to have any life-threatening disease. I am not going to die of accident. Nothing is going to happen. So these people have supernatural confidence in their mind. So we are not prepared for that. Second thing is that death is something very bad. So we should not be talking about death. Even when you say, even jokingly about the death, everybody will say, don't talk about that. It's apshakun and all that. So we don't talk about death. What we are prepared is only the mediclaim and the insurance. So we have the insurance. So I have secured my family financially. I am done. I am ready with my death. But that's where this trauma comes into your mind. Because we have never thought about death. We have never thought, we have never discussed. So we don't have any idea about death. So whatever is left is after death. I'll go to heaven or I'll go to hell. That's it.
Or I'm born again.
Or I'll reborn again, right? So that's only thing that we know about death. And because we are not prepared about death, we have never thought about that. Suddenly when you heard somebody died, that brings a trauma. That brings a shock. And when you listen to the news that you have a cancer, all the shock, trauma come immediately in the patient minds and everybody's mind. So those people who are in palliative stage, or those people who are about to die of any age in the next 3 months because of cancer, I have a very interesting story to tell. One of my friend, he was diagnosed with the cancer and he was in the last stage. So his father was desperately trying for whatever best possible. So he shared his PET scan with me and he asked me that I'll call you in the evening, you just speak to a couple of oncologists and see if anything is there. I said, okay. So in the night he called me and he was very, we can sense that at least I will say what he want to listen.
Yeah.
But, and then he asked me, so what did they say? What is your opinion on that? I said, all the doctors have told me the same story which your doctor has told you. This is the reality. So no chance, is there any chance that this machine will be faulty or somebody else's report? So hopes are like, something should happen, miracle should happen and all that.
They go to different places and try everything.
Right.
It's a natural progression.
Yes. Then he was still questioning. So I frankly asked him, Uncle, do you really want to know how many months, how many years, how many days he has? He said, yes, I want to know that because I can't ask to anybody. I said, how and who can guarantee you that how many days he is going to live? Suppose I tell you that he is going to live for next 3 months. What is the guarantee that you will be there for next 3 months? What is the guarantee that you are not dying before him? But you have assumed that he is having cancer. He is also 73. I said, you can also die tomorrow. So rather than how many days you have, so rather than quantity, you focus on quality. So give him a dignity. Whatever days that he have, whatever hours that he has, try to make him happy. Try to make him comfortable. The number doesn't matter. It's the quality what is matter. So this is where the role of psycho-oncologists come. That we have to change their biases. That our focus is to improve the quality of life. In whatever state, whatever condition that you are, you can still achieve the quality. Many cases, especially when the doctor tells that there is no need of any treatment, there is no use of any treatment. So what to do? You want patient to be kept in the hospital, or you want to take them to the home, or you want to take them to the palliative care center. And that's where the familial pressure, the social pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress on the family.
Can't afford your father. You have so much of money, you're keeping him at the palliative care center.
Yeah.
Who is there to take care of him? Why don't you take him home? So all these things.
A lot of social stigmas around it.
A lot of issues. And this is if the people can afford. Now what about those who cannot afford? I have seen people sold their land, sold their houses, and at the end of the day, nothing. The patient also passed by. Yesterday only I met a client of mine. His father is 84 years old, and a couple of weeks ago he was detected with lung cancer. And doctor told that chemotherapy might not work because of his age. He may not be able to sustain that. But we can have small chemo once in a week. So what to do? So he came to me. This is the situation. What should be done? I said, if the medical advice is that if he can't able to sustain the chemo, then why are you concerning about that? Why don't you take him to the home and make him happy for whatever period that he has? It is yesterday evening only I had this case.
Okay.
So these decision making, giving them a right platform, right thoughts into their mind, sharing with another example, it's more empathetic approach is required.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Girish, you're doing a lot of good work. I mean, first the female feticide issue, and now it's the need of the day. I have experienced it, and so many others have. So I hope these hospitals do incorporate onco-psychology. And if people want to find you, where do they look? What's the website?
It's Texas School of Mental Health. If you Google, you'll see our website.
Put it in the show notes.
So it's
Texas School of Mental Health.
TexasSchoolMH.com.
Okay.
To be precise, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Any last thoughts you'd like to say?
Nothing as such like what I should say. It's associated with the lifestyle. So we don't need to worry about having a cancer. That means you are going to die. Survivorship has definitely increased. So because of the modern advancement in the field of oncology and the research and all, now even the chemotherapies where you are not losing your hairs.
Yeah,
There's so much of advancement.
side effects now.
So controlling side effects and all. And one more thing I just want to add, which is I feel very important, and most of the cancer patients have that in their mind. Can they have allopathic treatment and Ayurvedic treatment and homeopathic treatment together? Yes, 100%.
Yes.
So you can have integrative medicine. So Ayurvedic medicine have their own role. They can help you in addressing your side effects. Homeopathy has its own way of treatment, and you can have everything together.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yes.
So thank you. And
Thank you.
Your students will know this, of course.
Yeah, of course.
That's excellent.
Yes.
So thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah.